Welcome to No Crew Podcast. I am one of your hosts. I'm Tyler.
I'm Mike.
The finals. It's over. 7 games. OKC, SGA, Finals MVP.
First championship in franchise history.
Yeah, the OKC franchise at least.
Yeah, young franchise.
Yeah. Are you surprised?
No.
It's tough. So obviously we're a day 48 hours away from it, basically. And all the coverage around the finals is hard because the last game was soiled by the Haliburton injury.
Yeah.
And it kind of is gonna get this lore of if Haliburton didn't get hurt kind of thing. We've seen that, throughout the league. Chris Paul, Bogut, like we've seen that throughout the league for years. How'd you feel when Haliburton went down? I don't mean like as a fan, but like for the game, did you lose interest in the game after Haliburton went down?
Yeah. Because I believed in Indy the whole way.
Yeah.
And I didn't lose faith after game 5. Like I knew they were going to tie it up. At that point I wasn't convinced they were winning 7, but I was sure they were going to win 6.
Mm-hmm.
Come home and you saw the signs that this was going to be a battle.
Yeah.
Obviously it's unfair to pick either way, but like clearly neither team was pulling away from the other.
Yeah.
And that's what killed me is Indy still hung on for a while, which that wasn't really surprising.
Mm-hmm.
But you just knew that it wasn't gonna, they weren't gonna be able to come back. They weren't gonna be able to go on like this massive run.
Yeah.
And the energy wasn't the same.
Yeah, the energy wasn't the same. And really, I'm not even sure if it was Haliburton himself, his play that made me feel like they weren't going to come back. But to your point, the energy, the team just did not look the same at all.
Yeah.
Even the unit that is usually pretty good without him in there didn't look the same at all. Yeah, and the calf strain into the Achilles injury is something we've seen also.
Dude, they keep telling us there's no correlation. It's a lie.
I mean, medically, it actually is a correlation because your calves are basically the shock absorbers for your Achilles. So when you don't have the shock absorber anymore, your Achilles takes all the weight of those push-offs, of those landings, and it's just not made to do that by itself. The calf is supposed to be there for that. That's why you could jump higher. I mean, that's why, you work your calves to jump higher in your landing.
But they always give the lie that it can't get worse. Like, yeah, maybe the calf won't tear.
Right.
But obviously it could be much worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like not having suspension on your car, or like not having your shock on your car. Like,
to be fair, look, if this happened, if he strained his calf in game 1 to 3,
yeah,
I wouldn't be mad at him if he sat out.
Sat out like game 2 or
after that, I'm not healthy enough to I'm not 100%. I can make it worse.
Yeah.
But 2-3 games left after the run we just had, and I could push through it.
Yeah.
I honestly at this point, I think even Kawhi would have found a way to play at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. In game 7, I don't see any player any all-star that would have said, I can't go.
And he looked great in game 6.
Yeah, he looked great in game 7.
Yeah, the first couple minutes, I was like, oh, he's looking solid.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is unfortunate he'll be out for the whole next year. And I think that's the thing that sucks the most about those, that he could have had one game and he would have been playing in the first game next year. But don't sit that game, you risk the injury, and now you miss a whole season of basketball. So, and Durant did the same thing. He had 3 games he could have sat out, 3 more games because he'd already sat out a few. But
Durant and AD did this. They pushed through a calf injury. AD re-injured the calf. I don't think he like tore any Achilles.
Yeah.
But KD literally tore his Achilles the same way.
Exact same, yeah.
So it was similar, like a basic like cut that he often makes, and it just goes.
Yeah, and the thing about KD is he had sat a few games already.
Right.
So I think they were hoping that, okay, well, he sat some games, he should be fine. But Haliburton really didn't miss any time to come right into playing again. So it's kind of tough talking about the last game because it kind of was, like you mentioned, the energy, and it was kind of over at some point, even though Pacers still had a little bit of fight in them.
But let's backtrack a little bit because you asked me if I was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Game 1 was a fucking surprise. I'll tell you now.
Yeah, the game winner.
Game 1 was, again, everybody thought like if OKC takes control, OKC is going to be able to keep it.
Yeah.
And first game, Indiana said, nope, you're going to be stressing the whole time. You're not going to know what's going to happen. We're going to be fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this entire series to me was like Indy's best and OKC's best were clashing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a like fine difference. There were such like little subtle things that kind of gave each team an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was one of the better finals. This was one of the more even matchups in the finals I could remember, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most competitive. And it's funny because neither of these teams, it's weird because watching the games, even though you could see they're really competitive and they were pretty evenly matched, neither of these teams looks like the best team in the league. Like, to me, not in the finals. Up until the finals, you got to see it more. Like, Indiana had some moments where, like, man, this team is ridiculous. But in the finals, maybe because they were so competitive, you could see the flaws in both teams. When both of these teams shot bad, they looked really, really bad. When they couldn't find their spots, when the stars couldn't find their spots, they looked really, really bad. Both teams had really bad turnover games, especially from their stars.
Yeah.
And the passing, at least on the OKC side, the passing wasn't what it was, at least in the Minnesota series, where it looked like they moved the ball a lot better. In the finals, they kind of tightened up on that a little bit in their worst moments.
To me, they almost validated each other's runs.
Mm-hmm.
Where I thought like clearly Indy was the best team out of their conference, and clearly OKC was the best. And that's what really impressed me was how they were like game to game, they were both adjusting to each other. They were both taking things away. They were reacting to some of the strength the other team was doing. I mean, you really like, I think we talked about this before the series, but like OKC's defense was going to obviously show out. It did. It pretty much decided the series overall. But Indy's chemistry, like, never always kept them in the series, always gave them a chance.
It did.
That, to me, that's really what validated both of these teams. And to be honest, like, if Haliburton doesn't go down, I'm confidently talking about them next year. Because to me, again, they made each other look a little bit worse, but the other teams in their conferences aren't exactly catching up.
Yeah.
If anything, if you don't think these teams were that good, it just goes to show that the league is kind of in a bad spot right now.
It is really open. It is.
Right.
And this entire playoffs, the injury issue was, a major downer. I mean, Indiana gets lucky by the injury problems every year.
I mean, it's 2 years of luck, and it runs out at the worst moment.
I know, and they lose all of next year with.
Yeah, it sucks.
And I'm not so confident that they won't still be really, really good. And Haliburton's, one of the engines that drives them, but I don't think he's the sole reason for a lot of the things that they do well. I think moving Nembhard to the one next year could be something they do in more time for Mathurin, which is unfortunately something I mentioned this exact scenario a couple of weeks ago. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they have a good chance of being really, really good again, even with this injury. I think they might surprise people because, like you said, the chemistry is what stands out about them. They play together.
Yes.
And so many of the guys come off the bench and are just ready ready to make impact in the game.
And Carlisle has such a good feel for like who to play more, who to play less, what lineups work.
Yeah.
I mean, I think again, I wouldn't change too much if I was this team. I'd just kind of let Haliburton come back.
Yeah.
And OKC is an even better situation
because they got another really high draft pick.
They got draft picks for years.
Yeah.
I don't know when they're gonna run out of picks. They have the picks of a lottery team while they're on a dynastic potential run.
Yep.
That to me, I don't know how you feel about this. OKC kind of dispelled the notion that young teams can't win.
Mm-hmm.
Because from last year they get exposed. This year they answered every question.
Mm-hmm.
And you kept thinking, I was guilty of this up until the finals. I'm like, they don't have the experience. They don't have the chemistry. Like, they don't have the structure to kind of distribute the ball a little more evenly.
Mm-hmm.
I kept thinking, like, they fall back to being a one-man show as much as the Knicks do. And everybody's telling me it doesn't work for the Knicks.
Even more than the Knicks.
Yeah, and it's not so much that, like, who's better between Brunson and Shea. Obviously, Shea's better. But if it's stagnant, I didn't believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
And OKC kept falling back on the defense.
Yeah, their defense allowed them to not play good offense basketball and still be successful. Because a lot of the times their offense looks really bad, to me at least. They miss rollers on pick and rolls. They shoot like really, really bad for long stretches. Shea can go a whole game without passing, basically. 0 assists in game 5, I think. And I mean, they still managed to work Indiana in those stretches. But it is because the defense. Dort is like a underrated. Like, he could have been Finals MVP, honestly. Like, he had one of those moments where his impact on every single game, you could see it. And I know Indiana felt it. I bet if Indiana got to vote for Finals MVP, they would have voted for Dort.
I'll tell you a guy, if he shot better, Caruso. Was, if he shot the 3 a little bit better, he literally would have put up like Iguodala stats.
Yeah, he could have.
When he won his MVP.
Yeah. Yeah. So those two were like major impact players. And when the offense was stagnant and when Shea wasn't doing his thing or he was getting caught up in traps, those guys just saved the day on offense and defense. And Dort shot better than I ever imagined Dort would shoot in a finals series. In any series, he shot fantastic. So, yeah, good series.
That was the interesting thing about, like, OKC made a complete run, one of the better, like, full seasons, one of the more dominating full seasons.
Yeah.
And there's clear potential for them to get better.
It is. Yeah.
I think a number of their players, like, are going to be hungry to get better after this.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, with all the picks you have, I can't imagine your cap space is in a bad spot. You're not paying for max guys.
Right.
I mean, the flexibility for, like, this team is going to be running it back for the next 5 years.
And they have guys who, if they needed to trade them, are max guy level value. Like, if for some reason Jalen Williams wanted a super max and they can't give it to him, they could trade Jalen Williams for. Who wouldn't trade for Jalen Williams right now?
Yeah.
Like, any star right now, I'll take Jalen Williams. So
at least a capable, like, substitute for his production.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, so they do have a lot of flexibility. I don't know if they're – so even with their defense and their play style, I think that will be the one thing that will be tested. Their roster, being how it is, will be fine.
Yeah.
I think that play style wise and even the way that Indiana exploited their defense a few times in this series will be something that going into next season, I'm curious to see if can hold up. Because they don't play offense. Like, a lot of times when we see dynasties, they play good defense and their offense is what no one can stop. but a dynasty being built only on defense usually hasn't lasted very long.
It's just really hard to sustain.
It is, yeah. And the thing is, once you've seen it so many times, like, there just has to be a way for you to figure it out. And like that, offense is sometimes just is no way to outduel the offense.
But I think it goes like Indiana's chemistry was on a level nobody else's was, and that kind of clashed to me again. It kind of validated both of these teams. It validated OKC's defense more than I thought, because while Indy was like showing that there are some cracks, OKC would respond every time. OKC would adjust to close off the cracks, to maybe hide them a little bit better.
Yeah, game to game, you're saying?
Yeah, and it's like Indy, as good as they are, was like struggling to overcome their defense. In the West, I mean, again, Golden State is the only genuine worry, but there's so many roster questions. Nobody else offensively I could see challenging them for 7 games.
Well, yeah, I guess so. There was times where Indiana had Mathurin been who the player they're hoping he eventually was. I think they would have had more opportunities with more one-on-one threats. They just don't have a whole lot of one-on-one threats on Indiana. Just one, really. And it's Siakam.
But everybody attacks.
Yeah, everyone does attack. Yeah, but they don't have anyone who really hits a whole lot of tough shots.
But that's, again, the West. That's the problem in the West. A lot of teams have tough shot takers,
and nothing else.
When they don't go, there's no offense to fall back on.
Right.
That's where again, OKC's like, even OKC falling back to being stagnant, they did it in the West better than everybody else.
Yeah, it did, absolutely.
Like, they trusted Shea. After a loss, they trusted Shea. After a bad game, they trusted Shea. After a lot of turnovers, they trusted Shea. Like, we didn't see that from Minnesota.
The only other team we saw that was Dallas last year.
Yeah.
And they made it to the finals. So
Dallas is obviously completely different. And if Dallas gets healthy, they'll be an exciting team, but they'll be an incoming challenger.
But do you think the Lakers could get to that point? And I'd say Dallas because Luka is one of the only other players who plays the SGA kind of game and is a better ball distributor. But he's one of those guys who can go 1-on-5 for a quarter.
Don't get me wrong. From a hater's perspective, I wanted to see OKC play Golden State and the Lakers this year.
Yeah. Like,
I still am not convinced that they would have handled those two teams as easily as they handled everybody else in the West.
Yeah.
But it's I'm obviously hating it being a hindsight Henry at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you have that, and then you have, I wish Indiana played one healthy team the whole playoffs.
Right. Cleveland remains at full strength, and we're talking about a 7-game series for sure.
Right, exactly, yeah. If Cleveland was in full strength for the first 2 games, it might only been a 5-game for Cleveland, for all we know.
And that's, again, OKC was the one team that choked the game, didn't get rattled like every team in the East did.
And they played the Bucks first round too, right? With Dame.
Yeah.
Dame got hurt. Yeah. So yeah, it's tough. Health should be a main factor next year going into the second half of the season for most of these teams.
I will say a lot of people are like talking about J-Dub as whether they move him, whether he gets better.
Yeah.
Chet really impressed me in these finals.
Played good.
Like, he was the guy who kind of really stepped up individually for their defense to work a little bit better.
Yeah.
I thought the game 4 was kind of the real like close game, and OKC took control at the end. I thought it was like almost an establishing like dynasty moment that Chet was at the end just clamping everybody who was trying to go at him.
Yep.
And they tried with like Nebhard, Tyrese tried, Naismith tried, and it was all stops.
And that was the game too. Chet was like really aggressive and drew a lot of fouls. Like in I think that second quarter, he randomly took over for a good stretch. He he impressed me this series and still showed probably the most room for growth at the same time. Like, he's one of the ones that everyone is very obvious. You're just scratching the surface of him. Because had he shot better, the series might have only been a 5-game series, honestly. Yeah. And he gets the shots. He just doesn't knock them down. And going into next season, maybe next 2 years, he's probably someone who's going to be one of the better 3-point shooters on the team. Because you see it.
And
just
to me, there's such a fun potential there with him and J-Dub either to go in 2A, 2B, or maybe even J-Dub takes more of a third seed role. Because he can get shots a lot easier. Chet's a guy, when they feed him, their shot selection is a little more versatile.
Yeah.
So I think the balance, that's where I think Dagnall can really start cooking next year. He can just have fun, mess with the lineups a little more, mess with how they get shots.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm excited.
It probably will still just fall down to Shea taking 30 shots a game.
That's easy. Yeah, because Shea is good enough, so it's you're always going to fall back on it.
Yeah.
But again, this season, the only thing we were impressed by this season was their defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think next year we're going to get a little more. It's just hard to imagine they play such elite defense all season. Their offense is going to have to get a little more comfortable.
It is, yeah. And they're going to have to. They can't be last in passes again next year and try to be like this, especially after everyone's seen this at this point.
We can work our way up to being average in passes.
Yeah. They probably need to get a point guard off the bench at some point. I use need loosely, but they don't really have any other ball handlers but SGA. A few times when SGA came out, what game was that towards the end where he sat a really long time? It might have been game.
Was it the J-Dub game?
3?
Oh, no.
No, I think they lost it. And the Pacers had a really good fourth quarter, but they just had no one could handle the ball at all while he was out. And they were just turning the ball over, taking bad shots, turnovers. So I do think they'll need – that's somewhere a veteran – a campaign could fill that role. It's not like it's a major impact role. It's just someone that can bring the ball up and not turn it over when the star is out of the game. So
we'll see how they run it back. But their chemistry is really good too. So I can't imagine they regress at all.
Yeah. All right. So it is that season again. It is trade season. You want to start with the big one and then come down, or you want to go in chronological order?
Let's go in order.
Okay. Memphis Grizzlies finally traded Desmond Bane. This is a trade I've been calling for all season, especially at the trade deadline. But they traded him for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 unprotected first-rounders. 4?
That's crazy. First-rounders is crazy.
And a pick swap, and 1 pick swap. So they have
you couldn't explain to me the mathematics. You could explain to me, and I would understand at the exact same level as when you started the explanation.
Including the 16th overall pick in tomorrow's draft. A first-round selection in 2026, 2028, and 2030, and top 2 protected swap rights to a first selection in 2029. Also, the swaps for the Washington Wizards and Phoenix Suns.
Hello.
So they're about to get one of y'all's picks too. That's crazy. That's a guaranteed lottery. Well, they got 3 guaranteed lottery picks in this for Desmond Bane.
So how do you feel about it for Orlando? I'll ask first for Orlando.
It's a slight upgrade for Orlando. And by a slight upgrade, I don't mean player to player, because Desmond Bane is clearly a much more prolific scorer than both those players. But for fit-wise, I don't really see him as the fit that they that I was picturing them looking for. So I don't know if he's like, if they're gonna use him like KCP, he's only a slight upgrade. But if they're gonna let him play his Memphis game, it's a big upgrade. I just don't really know. I don't really know how that fits into how they play. But I do think they needed to switch up how they play. So
See, I love the idea that he's bringing his Memphis game because he has maybe not for the best, but he has a lot of experience being the point guard.
he does, yeah, and being a ball handler, a
Yes.
primary ball handler.
And at this point, getting a player that just has the experience, even if it's hit or miss, I guess I'll say, him being a point guard.
Yeah.
Because he is a good scorer.
Yeah.
He rivals Banchero now as like he'll probably lead them in scoring a good amount.
Right. Yep. If he plays that game, yes.
It's just the problem is like the ways they've gotten stagnant in the playoffs.
Yes.
That's not what he fixes.
Exactly. That's my.
He'll just continue to take tough shots like the rest of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of upgraded your talent. You're not really addressing your play style.
Right. And he's not really a mismatch guy. He doesn't create any mismatch for you. He's obviously stronger than everybody, but he's not like someone who's you got to switch off of if you can't guard him. He's not really he doesn't really take up like his own like comparing him to like a Middleton who can hold just that little spot on the wing, and Middleton can score there with just 2 dribbles. That's not really a Bane kind of thing. Bane might need to get into the paint. He needs a lot more space on the court, and when you got a lot of other guys who really don't create that much space, like a Banchero and Franz, because they're not really shooters, it doesn't really like Bane just taking a tough shot, like you said, doesn't help you that much.
It'll be interesting to see during over the season what they look like when he's playing great.
Mm-hmm.
That's really obviously the chemistry is they're gonna have to build that, but is it just when Banchero plays great, a lot of times the team sucks?
I think it's gonna be the same of that.
See, that's the thing. It's like I don't really want when Desmond Bane is playing great, the team just fucking watches him do that shit.
Yeah, it's like we lost by 16, but Bane had 35.
That's where I guess this year we'll really kind of see their chemistry, how much it develops, and the coach will be under a little bit of fire if they don't get significantly better.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I'm just worried when they go into the playoffs, they're gonna fall back on the talent, and then a team like Indiana, who's been playing together for years, is just gonna dismantle them.
Yeah, especially also because their other 2 scorers are pretty inconsistent scorers. Like Bane can always get buckets, but Franz is super inconsistent. So it'll be moments where Franz just doesn't have it. He comes out the game, and then Bane kind of has to force some stuff that he probably shouldn't need to force. And I'm worried about that a little bit. That's why I say upgrade-wise, on paper, it's huge. But for their play style,
if they can find like a 3-man playmaker balance, there is something scary there.
Yeah, I mean, they should have a full season of Suggs.
And if their health gets right, now they got good subs, good rotation guys.
Yeah,
I like the guys. I like a lot of their front court guys.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what they look like.
I will say it is a huge upgrade for their second unit because although Bane he's going to start, but he can be one of those guys where the rest of the starter is out and you have Bane and I forgot who they bring off the bench there now, but you have Bane and some of those other guys, Mo Wagner and
Anthony Black. Is that
Anthony Black is a good one? Yeah, he can come in with those guys and be the primary scorer, primary option for that second unit, and that I like how that sounds. I think that's something that could really, really work for them. That is a huge upgrade for them. Even though Cole Anthony did it, he wasn't really consistent either. I do think Bane is a consistent 20-point a game guy with a second unit if you need him to be.
Yeah.
So, it's still the price, man. I wouldn't trade 4 unprotected first rounders alone for him.
Yeah. As somebody, it's weird because I've been high on Bane. I think he is good, but it's this is like, I don't think he's this good.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, all season I've been saying
And
the package
the market on him was like every opinion I didn't have. Like,
yeah, and I was thinking that Memphis would trade a package with Bane like for something else, like bigger. That they would go bigger for Bane, not. I mean, I guess the picks is big, but I thought they would go like a Bane and Aldama for KD. Like that's the kind of package I was thinking. Not let's downgrade Bane and just load up on picks.
the fact that they're loading up on picks makes me think that like they're going to be active over the next few years.
Well, the one other problem is they have a lot of upcoming free agents that they have to take care of. I was looking at the free agent list, which I should pull up because we might get into that a little bit. But
then they probably traded Bane to clear up some money.
yeah, because Santi Aldama
Let's be serious.
Upcoming.
The only way they're keeping guys is overpaying them.
Yeah.
Did you see what Bane said when he got to Orlando?
Nah, what'd he say?
Dude, he said it's a breath of fresh air. The facility here has windows. In Memphis, we call it the dungeon.
That's crazy. The dungeon.
No!
That's so bad.
Yeah, that had me sick.
I gotta find the free agent list, but I know Aldama's a free agent, and I think they have one other big free agent coming up that they have to take care of. So yeah, it might have been like either we can't pay 3 players or we just lose Bane. And
I do think the way they play, by the way, is such a fucking bad spot for KCP.
Think so?
KCP without structure is gonna just like, yeah, he's gonna. I mean, he's solid enough to contribute.
Yeah,
but you lose any chance of him being a consistent player.
Yeah,
and it's cool with a guy like Bane who could cook.
Mm-hmm.
KCP can't cook.
Right.
So, structure for him, yeah, he's going to give you some 3-point games, but he's also going to fucking be out there doing stupid shit.
Well, what do you think about Cole Anthony on Memphis?
I mean, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting comfortable in Orlando, so I'm curious if he just continues that trend. But he's got to stay healthy for a while.
Yeah, he does.
And I feel like Orlando had bad luck with health, and he goes to another spot that had bad luck with health.
Yeah. Wendell Carter Jr. That's what I was trying to think of. He'd be another off the bench kind of good second unit guy.
I thought Wagner was a huge loss for them.
What do you mean?
Mo Wagner, like not having him in the rotation in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely.
He's like a unofficial sixth man, kind of like what McConnell is for the Pacers, where it's just the bench is not the same when he doesn't play.
Yeah, and he's such a versatile. Forward. Yeah, and he shoots well. He attacks well.
Charges, gets hype.
Yeah. He's kind of their enforcer, their bench enforcer.
I think again, if Bane clicks well and then the health gets right, I'm excited for this team. I really am.
I agree. All right, second, the big one. The moment we've all been waiting for, the moment we wait for every single summer, actually. Kevin Durant has been traded to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick this year, and 5 second-round picks. 5 second-round picks. This is a very win-now trade for Houston, who I don't really see as like a win-now team. I mean, not to me, but what do you think? What do you think before I go into it?
Well, they're definitely win now because with like the 2 seasons they just had, like they should be, especially with the run OKC just made, they should be looking at themselves now. It's our turn.
Okay.
Problem for me, like you say, win now. Did Phoenix not do that?
What do you mean?
Did Phoenix not get KD as a win now move?
Yeah, the last 3 teams did.
Phoenix went to the finals and said we gotta upgrade to win now.
Yeah.
At what point? At what point are we gonna acknowledge that like KD doesn't have this magical impact on winning?
I don't know why they're not acknowledging it already.
Bro, I can't believe there was a few people who told me like Houston was a potential destination.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought like, no way.
Yeah.
What? Like, did you not just see what happened?
Yeah.
Bro, like you literally, if you're not upgrading your leadership, you don't need to upgrade.
This is a major downgrade of leadership.
Like, yes, you got like scoring, you got better. You couldn't fucking get a bucket in the playoffs. This obviously addresses that.
Mm-hmm.
But you were in the game, you were in the series, even though you couldn't score. You gave up the reason you were in the series.
Yeah.
You gave up your athleticism. You gave up your young core that was hungry. Now you're going to have a guy who, let's be honest, at the first sign of trouble, he was going to want a new coach.
Yeah. If I'm a coach, I'm a coach, I'm definitely going out to drink and not in happiness getting Durant. I'm going out because now my job security is out the window.
Bro, if I'm Udoka, New York, actually, let me talk to you guys. Hold on.
Yeah.
Because this is like, it doesn't make sense for what we just saw from Houston for them to like make a panic upgrade. Like, this is a panic upgrade.
It is.
And, obviously, I don't believe it to be an upgrade, but talent-wise, it is.
Yeah.
But it's such a, like, there's no, like, our problems couldn't have been fixed. Who was saying that?
I don't know.
Like, bro, Jalen Green had one good game in a 7-game series, and nobody was saying, like, he's done.
Right.
Like, nobody was giving up on him, saying Goon is kind of small, not that athletic. Nobody's saying, like, oh, he's not good enough to win.
Right.
This team, they showed, like, the last 2 years, this is why I believe them to be win now. Their role players have gotten better. 2 years in a row, everybody who cracks this team's rotation gets better. Like, that to me, if that doesn't scream we're trying to contend, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
And you fuck all that up to bring in KD, who just imploded on the Suns.
Yeah.
Who ruined their organization for years.
Yeah. And Brooklyn's.
Brooklyn's
still trying to recover.
Bro, I told you, as soon as this whole trade discussion was going on, which was, by the way, forced by him.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, we have to ruin a third franchise?
Yeah.
Like, we ruined, again, Brooklyn, maybe you get a pass. Phoenix was directly your fault.
Yeah.
You cannot, like, no honest person can tell me it wasn't KD's fault.
I really liked Phoenix before KD got there.
I love them.
Ayton, like, I even liked Ayton on that team. Like, that starting 5 was one of the best starting 5s in the league.
Bro, he couldn't, like, it's mind-blowing to me that Houston would put all their eggs in this basket.
The Phoenix was struggling to pay Royce O'Neal this summer. Like, that's what KD and Beal did to them together. And KD obviously was a big reason Beal got there. And then he, ditches that.
I just like, again, you have limited offensive players who are going to need guidance, who are going to need structure, who are going to need a leader to like play selfless. And that is the literal fucking opposite of how KD plays.
Yeah. Only reason I don't see them as win now is because, like, to me, you at least got to get, like, they got into a competitive. Yeah. You have to have a competitive second round before I say you're win now. Competitive first round.
Nah, you're not there yet. I'm with you. That's fair.
Against a Warriors team that's like broken down. They're old. Like, all the advantages they should have had, they didn't have. Like, Warriors are old. We're young and athletic. We still couldn't take advantage of it. We're bigger. We couldn't take advantage of it. So that's where I would think they would more have a Thunder kind of off season, like a Hartenstein, Caruso pickups. That's what I was looking for. But trading two guys who are two starters for, like, they're basically trading maybe 40 points, 30 points, 36 points between. Like, let's say Brooks averages 16, Jalen Green probably averages 18, something like that, for a 25-point scorer who is, 10 years older than both those guys, at least.
How many games Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green missed last year?
Probably more than Durant played last year.
I'll tell you, like,
not as many as
honestly,
Durant played.
You give him two starters for a guy who resets your chemistry. Okay, he's really talented.
Yeah.
Okay. He's playing 50 games. That's a fucking gamble. That's not a likelihood outcome. That's a fucking gamble.
What position is Durant playing?
Great question. Great question with all the fucking hybrid forwards you got. What the fuck are you gonna do with that?
And who would you have said were the two best shooters on Houston?
Well, the more consistent was Dylan Brooks and like Jabari.
Yeah, and Jabari, comes off the bench. But I mean, Jalen Green has the rookie record for Houston in threes, and he's got two best shooters, and you get one good shooter.
Again, KD misses time. Now your trade looks fucking trash.
Yeah, and
your chemistry is a problem. You know who wasn't making it worse? Jalen Green. You know who came here and cleaned up his fucking attitude? Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, the most serious I've ever seen Dylan Brooks look.
No, even the fucking antics were like basketball focused.
Yeah,
which is all I was asking for.
Yeah,
like we talk about this all the time. All these teams missing a fucking point guard. Like with the point guard struggles you just had in the playoffs, you think KD's mitigating that?
Of course not.
Fuck no. Van Fleet and him are a disgusting duo to imagine.
I agree.
Jabari Smith getting good shots, that's fucking dead.
Yeah.
I mean, you fucked up all the role player upside. I don't know what the fuck Sengun is going to do because he's going to be struggling being the number 2, number 1. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Again, if KD misses half the season, Sengun has to be what he just was. But then when KD comes back, he has to be a completely different, like, auxiliary player. None of that shit makes sense. And again,
the team's not good
meanwhile,
enough for
it's going to be Udoka's fault.
The team's not good enough for KD to be the auxiliary scorer like he was on Golden State, which is where he plays his best game. When he has the attacking ball handler, attacking 2, and KD can just catch and shoot. Like, that's what he does really, really, really well on his championship level teams. He did it on OKC, he did it on Golden State. This team is just not good enough for that. Like, you traded the one player who can really go get a bucket and really would be that other scorer to really open KD up to be an off-ball scorer. But KD almost has to be the star of this team, and he's just not there in his career anymore.
Like they're going to be more dependent on him than Phoenix was to get good shots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, again, I like Udoka. I think that there's some upside to him figuring it out.
Yeah.
I think he has like a good enough like character to reach Durant.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Phoenix to me validated that KD is not serious about being coached.
Mm-hmm.
It validated to me that he's not serious about like fitting into a team.
Right.
Again, he's satisfied with his titles. He thinks like he just wants to hoop. He wants to hoop, but he wants to decide the coach. He wants to play whatever game he feels like playing, and the team got to figure it out around him. And Houston is too young to do that shit.
Do you think him wanting to go to Houston is a good sign of him like wanting to like adjust to them?
I mean, in theory, but he wanted to go to Brooklyn, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't know if he wanted all those other guys there. But That's the thing. I don't know. I don't know. I think the rest of the roster changes that have to be made when he goes to the teams is what turns him off. But like, dude, we traded 6 guys for you. Obviously, we're gonna have to change the roster. I mean, at least they extended Steven Adams. I don't know if him and Steven Adams. I mean, Steven Adams was really young when he was on OKC. I don't know if they have a relationship.
I like that. Like Steven Adams on his own, I like just because he's a good fit.
Yeah.
But again, I just like part of why I've been excited for Houston is not like, yeah, Jalen Green's awesome, Sengun is awesome, but like the other draft picks, the other guys you signed, like they were figuring it out.
Yeah.
There was some like upside to them getting better if they become competent offensively. We just saw a team dominate defensively to win a championship. Yep. Like Houston had some potential to be like that.
Yep.
And you throw it away to play like every fucking boring team plays. Like, let's just try to outshoot the other team. Let's just like out-talent the other team. And then if that doesn't work out, it's the coach's fault.
Didn't you at one point suggest them getting Jrue Holiday?
Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I would have liked that better. I would have liked Van Vliet for Jrue Holiday, just straight up better than this. But let's talk about the Suns real quick. So the Suns are going to move off of Bradley Beal. They're already in trade talks for Beal right now.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
Yeah, they announced that yesterday. They're working with Beal to figure out where he's going to go. How do you think they're going to be? I kind of like Booker and Green. Like something about it. I like it.
I think they're going to be fun.
You think Booker's going to keep playing the 1?
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go all out if I was Booker.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Green, I don't know what obviously Booker's more established.
Yeah.
And like Green is coming into like, this is Booker's team, Booker's franchise.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that they picked. I mean, they had to pick Booker. It only makes sense. But like, finally, KD's out of there and it's back to Booker's team. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
I think there's a peak MVP candidacy for D-Book.
Mm-hmm.
Because with bad structure just last year, a lot of their role players played well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys showed that, like, if we have some structure, if we have some leadership, we can play good basketball.
Yeah.
And I think we fuck off with the expectations. We fuck off with trying to fit, like, established superstar players.
Uh-huh.
Well, we have fun.
Yeah.
I think this team is going to be fun. And I don't really care how much games they win. But to me, Booker and Green should be averaging 50 as a duo.
I agree.
Like, that's the baseline production.
I agree. I think this was a really good depth move for them. And then with the picks.
Yeah, getting picks, getting young, like keep staying young. So you have the flexibility. Like, teams are showing us how to fucking rebuild.
With the picks, they can drop some of the guys that they have that they just like. Okay, you don't play Okogie, let them go now. Just use the draft. Like at this point, we don't have to keep
a couple guys. If Cam Whitmore can't get in next year, please free him, please.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to play next year because they don't have any other guards. They're out of guards. I'm excited for Phoenix. I'm curious to see what the Beal market is at this point. And they said that they might have to just buy him out, which would suck. Which would really, really suck because then they get nothing for it.
Wizards trash as fuck for giving him a no trade clause.
Yeah, that was really bad.
It was insane at the time. I still can't get over that shit.
And what did y'all get from the Suns?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Can't even remember. Last year, what was it? Bradley Beal to the Suns for?
It's gonna piss me off. I don't even want to know.
Oh yeah, CP and Landry Shamet.
That's right. I can't believe I forgot.
It was, and then the 3-way was CP for Poole. So,
Wow.
Chris Paul and Landry Shamet and a bunch of second-round picks.
That's so embarrassing. After giving the max no trade clause deal to the guy.
And neither of those guys are there the next year, but at least you got Poole out of it. So really it was Poole and a bunch of picks because you traded CP for Poole. Bradley Beal for Poole.
It's rough for Phoenix that they got to buy him out, though.
Yeah.
That's a hit. That's a hit on the wallet for sure.
Yeah, they said apparently because they can't find a team that Beal wants to go to that also wants him back. So, but then, losing, I mean, they have to pay him, but they'll have more space to get another contract.
Beal really played his stock into oblivion.
Yeah.
I've never Phoenix collapsed as a team, but he still found a way to stand out as selfish. I take that back because Nurkic did too, so it wasn't the only one.
Honestly, I think this contract made him more selfish. Because had he not had the no trade clause, I don't think people would feel like he was selfish. The one reason they thought he was selfish because they knew that he was going to hold on to that. There was no way you were going to get rid of him, and he's still going to.
He was going to be in control, and he was just going to only look out for himself.
And the good news is when they buy him out, the next team that gives him a contract is not giving him a no trade clause. The next contract is not having a no trade clause.
He embarrassed himself with the I shouldn't be coming off the bench or whatever.
Yeah.
That was so embarrassing.
It was. Shout out to Budenholzer, man. He got a raw deal there. Major raw deal.
All of them did. Monty was due, but he still got a raw deal. And then Vogel and Budenholzer.
Yeah.
Just completely scapegoated.
I wonder if anyone's had more coaches on less teams than KD. KD's been on 5 teams.
He's had good thing I'm excited about a lot of other teams because it's going to be tough to watch Houston games this year.
Yeah, they're going to have some really good games, and then they're going to have some really whack ones.
But for me, it's of course they're going to have good games, but I don't believe in their progression.
Yeah, me either.
That's what dies with KD. You could hype up his scoring ability and convince a lot of people that they could be really good.
Yeah.
But the defense we just saw from OKC, they're not beating that.
No.
If Golden State gets a fucking center, they're not beating that.
The Houston's is not going to be able to score well enough.
It's just
obviously
same
Durant
problem, just looks different.
Right. Yep, same problem, just looks different. Okay, last trade, the most recent trade, Celtics trade Jrue Holiday to the Blazers for Simons.
This was an eyebrow raiser.
2 second-round picks.
I'll be honest, I did not see that. I don't know anybody who saw this coming.
Yeah, I knew Jrue Holiday was going to get traded, but I just don't understand where Portland is in on this, and especially since they just had Jrue Holiday and traded him to Boston.
Portland is so you can't trust watching Portland to try to assess how they're gonna move as an organization.
Yeah,
because you watch Simons the last couple of years and you think they believe in him, they want to build around him, and they trade him for a culture improving role player.
Yeah.
Am I confused? Did you believe in Avdia more than I thought? Do you think there's some upside to this roster that I'm missing? Because they won enough games to say next year we could be playoff caliber.
Portland?
Yeah.
This next season?
This next season. How many games? They won 30 games.
Yeah.
You could make a move, make 2 moves, you could get that at 40, 45.
Yeah.
But it's, again, I thought Simons was the guy they believed in.
He was averaging 19 and 5. He led the team in scoring.
Again, it's bizarre to me that they wanted to move him. That's the surprise to me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Jrue getting moved, of course. But for the guy Portland seemed to want to build around.
And trading him for someone who, like, I could have, like I mentioned earlier in the season, I thought Simons should go to Orlando. Had that Orlando package been what Portland got, I could have understood. Oh, you get another young point guard, kind of plays a similar game, he's just smaller, and you get a better shooter. But going and getting a 35-year-old who is going to make $30 million a year and has a $37 million player option after that, he's going to be 38 with a $37 million player option. Like, what are you doing?
That's what I don't like. What is the idea of bringing Jrue in?
And he averaged 11 points a game. Like, what are we? I know he can average more. I know he's a role player on Boston's team, but I don't think he has many other gears to his game. He's going to come be a role player for 11 points on Portland.
That's what I'm like. Did you see something from other guys that made you think like we could get better? Are you trying to keep tanking somehow? Because again, Drew's going to help you win games.
Yeah, but not that much.
Yeah, like why? You're trying to develop whatever like players you want to keep. You're trying to establish some kind of play style. This is like the opposite of that.
I knew that they were going to pick Scoot over Simons, and I guess Jrue and Scoot kind of I could see that working, but I don't really see it working on like a high level. Like I don't see it making you win 10 more games, especially because Jrue just doesn't have the capability to score like Simons does. And he doesn't have the energy. You have Simons probably has 8 or 9, maybe 10 more years left in this league. He's only 26.
Simons like established himself as clutch the last couple years. It's really strange to me. With Boston, if Tatum was healthy, this would also be bizarre.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's missing the year, like I get it.
Simons is going to come in and be their second leading scorer.
Yeah. Without Tatum, it completely makes sense. With Tatum, that's going to be weird. But we'll get to that, whenever he gets healthy.
He's expiring, so they probably won't bring him back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they won't be able to afford him again.
Maybe if he plays, well, yeah, the price will probably be too high.
Yeah, because he'll be. He got the same $100 million contract that Brunson got, and that free agency that Brunson got from the Knicks. So if he's gonna play this year, I don't really see how they would extend him.
I just it's starting to piss me off because we've been podcasting for a long time, and there's teams that in our podcast lifetime we haven't been able to understand their decision making.
And Portland is number one.
And Portland is, I don't know if they're number one. They're up there. They could be number one. They're probably from start of podcast to now the most definitive. Like what?
Yeah.
It's like every other year, we're like, oh, we thought you were doing this, but then you plot twist to that, which quickly turns out to have no direction anyway.
And I joked with you this morning saying I don't know why teams like the Celtics get whatever they want. I always feel like Portland doesn't get what they wanted in every trade that they make. I'm like, well, is that really what you wanted? Like, just wait and make the trade you want to make. Like, even with the Gary Trent, like they had guys that they've given up on or traded away, and like they always get like the worst version of what I feel like they could have gotten for that. Like, can't think of like a whole lot of examples, but there's been times where they were looking for a big man, they trade it, and then they get like they traded Nurkic for Ayton. Is that really the best? Is that really the move you wanted to make? Is that the big man you wanted?
I'll never forget. Maybe a little bit of recency bias because he's kind of peaked now. But you remember what the fuck they did with Norman Powell? They traded for him, signed him to we want him, and then traded him half a fucking season later.
That was the Gary Trent trade.
Yeah.
They traded Gary Trent for him and got Yeah, got
and
him
then
for a
gave
year
up
and
on
then traded
him, even though they paid him like it's like, yeah, he was the sub, the fit we want. But then gave up on him half a year later for fucking, I don't even know what.
Wasn't Justice Winslow in the package that they got for him?
So I do remember him in Portland, Justice Winslow. Whew.
Let me see. Hold on. I gotta look that up now.
It would make sense why Portland getting him of all teams.
The Portland trade. This trade is so disgusting. The LA Clippers acquired Portland Trailblazers veterans Norman Powell and Robert Covington in exchange for Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, and Keon Johnson and a second-round pick.
You cannot. Portland is fucking trash, dude. The Trailblazers need to be. They need a new fucking owner. They need new GM, new something.
Covington was good back then too. That was 2022.
Yeah, he didn't work out on the Clippers, but it's fine. Powell did.
Yeah. Justice Winslow, Bledsoe, and Keon Johnson.
6, 7, 8 years. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like OKC has rebuilt. They've rebuilt a second time. Teams have went into purgatory. They've come out. Portland, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's disgusting because like I talk about this with Atlanta a lot. Atlanta's also in purgatory, but Atlanta is on the if we get out, we could get out on the better side, like on the upside trajectory.
Yeah.
With Portland, they're on the fucking bottom side, where it's like another bad move or two, and you're completely trash for more years.
Do you remember who they got for CJ McCollum?
Oh, God. No.
Portland sends CJ McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell in exchange for Josh Hart, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, and Tomas Satoransky. And 2 future second-round picks and a protected first pick.
If I'm remembering right, Josh Hart became a good basketball player after leaving. Nikhil Alexander-Walker became a good basketball player after leaving. Yeah. And Satoransky, even though he came and went, also became a good basketball player after going there.
He at least became an Olympian after he left there.
But Chicago was after, right? And he was solid in Chicago for a little bit.
Yeah. But he had a good Olympic performance after that.
Yeah.
Like he blossomed as an overall basketball player after he left. Yeah.
Portland sucks.
So Portland had Norman Powell, CJ McCollum, Covington, Damian Lillard.
Why were you even winning games last year?
How?
Like, why? That's my questions. Why? Well, again, every time I watched them, maybe Chauncey is like trying to be a good coach, like trying to believe in the young players and find some sort of consistency.
Yeah.
But again, it's just bizarre to me that Simons, I thought, was the lead one, and he's the one you move. Now you kind of reset your like young core building.
Yeah.
Again.
Yep. And then their best pick this year is the 11th pick. They don't even have a top 10 pick.
Bro, I can't believe Jeremy Grant wasted his fucking prime there.
He wasted his whole career on this team.
At his motherfucking peak, he went there and he stayed there.
Yeah, being greedy. Because he knows this team is going to give him more money than any other team.
And again, another thing, you watch Portland, he's a perfect example. This team, no direction, no structure, and he reflects that.
Yeah. And he's someone that literally every team in the league could use.
Dude, he could have been like the key, like what Aaron Gordon was for the Nuggets this year.
Yeah.
He could have been that for so many teams. I mean,
he was that for
they were traded.
He was that for the Nuggets.
Right.
He basically was that for a while. Yeah. And went and got that money. Yeah. So yeah, those are the three big trades. Portland.
We're still waiting for Giannis, obviously.
Maybe, yeah. Well, since they said they're probably gonna buy Beal out, what team do you think Beal should go to? Off the top of your head.
That's tough.
It is tough. I don't really.
I mean, it would probably be a weak look, but the Lakers are. I'm sure they can't pay him.
Yeah, that would be super trash. But yeah. What about Atlanta? You mentioned Atlanta for a second.
No, I don't.
You don't like that? You don't like Trey and Beal?
I need somebody to at least try to structure his game. He's not like the everybody just eats.
Yeah.
It's not a good look for him anymore. Even though he's the originator of that.
Yeah. He's done with it. Everybody eats now.
It's who are we talking about that? Oh, Bane. It's similar to Bane where it's like if you have problems, like Beal is just gonna, if you don't have the structure to fix it, Beal is just gonna add to it.
Yeah.
Like how Atlanta plays, he's just gonna jump right in, take the same. He's gonna look a lot like Bogdanovich does. Let's be serious.
Don't disrespect.
Really?
Don't disrespect.
What's
Bill
the
can
difference?
go get his shot though. Bill can go get a good shot.
I guess that's yes.
Bogdanovich just takes wherever he catches it, he's shooting it. Like at least Bill a pump fake.
Slight upgrade, I guess, but I'm not enough for me to care.
I like Atlanta. I like San Antonio, maybe. But they have Vassell. Like they tried to trade Vassell and they couldn't get anything for him.
I'm curious. I mean, I imagine Dallas. Well, I mean, we'll know the draft is tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas and Spurs either are about to trade that pick for something serious, or like are waiting to make that pick to see what they're gonna look like.
Well, Dallas is keeping flag.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
San Antonio said they don't want to trade it, but I'm sure there's something out there that could get them to trade it. Like I'm sure Giannis could get them to trade it.
Oh yeah, and honestly, the more time goes,
yeah,
San Antonio is like the perfect fit
for
Giannis. If they could afford it, I don't know what the situation would look like.
They can.
What's a better fit?
Is great.
I think Giannis, by the way, automatically brings a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Because he's been on the Bucks the whole time, and like I don't think it's gonna be that easy to play around him.
Yeah.
But if like the Spurs make the most sense.
I just don't know what position. Like it's hard for me to pick about Giannis because like I wish a team could say what position they were planning on using him for. Because I just don't know like where he would be. Like where would he be on the court on San Antonio? In the paint?
Giannis is weird. Like he's really a positionless big.
Yeah.
But it's like that's not a good thing, if that makes sense.
Right. Like, but Wemby is the positionless big in a good way, and Giannis is the positionless big in a bad way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that's why it would be. I do think they could make it work, and it probably would be pretty cool. But I don't know. It's just hard for me to see sometimes.
Giannis, I think is going to be hard to imagine on another team in general.
I think the only team that I can imagine him very easily on is the Warriors, and I just don't think they have enough to trade for him. But like him, Draymond, Steph, and Jimmy, if they traded everybody else on the team for him, like I could easily see, Giannis is in the paint, he's picking rolls, he's cutting, he's catching Draymond lobs.
If Draymond, Kurt, if Steph, and Giannis are there,
yeah,
I'm picking them out the West automatically. Until Curry's, either fucking injury happens or what, I'm picking them the whole way.
Yeah, well, I could easily see that fit. Like it would be an easy fit to me.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him fitting on the Timberwolves if they traded Randall for him.
I think the Warriors, actually, now that I think about it, are the one team that could utilize all of his versatility.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like a lot of times for the Bucks, it's like he could do all this shit, but there's no like specific focus.
Exactly.
Warriors are the only team that don't need to focus it. They need it all. Bring it all.
Right.
That'll look great, I think.
So no Beal spots?
No.
Nah. I think Beal could finish like what if Brooklyn is just like, hey, we're not gonna sell, we're gonna get some guys. And like I could see Beal like finishing off their starting five. I don't know. I mean, it would be what D'Angelo, Beal, Cam Johnson. I don't know who plays the four for them. And Claxton. That's a solid starting five.
I do think if he's looking to kind of just be in a comfortable spot,
Yeah.
I wonder what his priority is coming out of it, like Phoenix.
Yeah, that is the thing. What does he actually want? Because he could go to Brooklyn and be the man again, and that team would be pretty good.
That's
but
the
he'd
thing.
have
Like
to be the guy.
he's kind of been lying to us about. I don't know if he's been lying, but like it's kind of been like a lie that he's been like looking to like win.
Yeah.
Like if he's really trying to get his game back, go to Atlanta, bro. Go to Atlanta and turn up.
Yeah.
But I just don't believe in him as like a fit, like a final fitting piece.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said the Lakers like maybe could convince me. But that's a big maybe.
I got you. All right. You got any like? Are you in on the draft? Are you heavy on the draft this year?
No, I haven't been following. I saw there was a guy that was like not working out with anybody.
Yeah, Ace Bailey.
Yeah, isn't he like from? Why is that?
Apparently he just knows where he wants to play. I guess his manager, his agent, I guess, told him it's just better just not to work out with anybody for whatever reason. But he's very highly desired. Everybody wants him, and he probably has overall the best upside in the draft from what I've seen. The little bit I've seen.
I'm going to be learning about a lot of the guys after they get picked, so I'm going in blind.
Yeah, I haven't been too deep on it either. I've been looking at some of the highlights and stuff, and some of the guys look pretty good. Dylan Harper, I think, is my favorite.
You think Broom is going to sneak in first round, or you think he's a second round guy?
I think he'll get late first round. Late first round, I think. Yeah. I think it's an underrated big man draft. The guards are the ones that are going high, but I think that the late big men are actually really good in this draft. The Broom, that kid from Stanford, Reynaud, the big man from Duke. I can't remember his name right now, but there's a lot of big guys coming in.
Body.
Yeah, it's like some 7-footers coming in that I think late first round, early second round that actually will end up getting more minutes than some of the lottery picks. I just think that they're probably more desirable, but people are going for the high upside, that 10 years from now will pay off. But I think the guys who will pay off right away will be some of the bigs in the late rounds, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Yep. You got anything else today?
Nah, I'm excited for the Maryland guy, Queen, Derek Queen.
Yeah. Oh, Queen's another one. He's another one. He's another big body that I think is underrated.
But I think a lot of teams are looking at him as like an upside guy because he's very talented scorer. If he gets a little more athletic, I think he could be very good.
Yeah, he's kind of a good versatile four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, I'm excited for him too. Let's see. I want to talk about free agents now. No, we'll wait. We'll wait till free agency. I think it's July 6th. July 6th is free agency this year. Yeah, we'll wait for that.
But next time we'll be back, we'll cover the draft, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
Get into the WNBA a little bit. They've been their season's starting to get a little deeper in.
Yeah, they've been hooping. They have been hooping.
A lot of competitive games.
A lot of weird records. Like a lot of the really good teams are low in the standings right now. luckily in the WNBA, basically everybody makes the playoffs. So I mean, like only 3 teams don't make it. So
I was a little disappointed that Liberty and the Lynx came out like dominating high.
yeah, yep. And the Lynx had injuries and are still killing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually when the Fever when Clark came back and they got that big win.
Yeah.
Was that ended Liberty's? They were undefeated at that point.
Yeah, I think so. And then I think they lost one more game after that.
Yeah, that was a big. I was like, yo, Liberty needed to lose.
Yeah, that was huge. I don't know if they were expecting Caitlin to come back like that. She came back on fire. She's been really bad ever since that game, though.
They've been weird. They're figuring it out. Very different team. It's been awkward.
She's made 1 3 in 3 games since that game, which is crazy.
Yeah, we don't always have to be way behind the line, right? Like,
right? Or we can take one catch and shoot one, can't we? Like, what do we have to...
I'm a little nervous. The logo commercials are starting to get to our head.
Yeah, she got to chill. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for listening. Catch you guys later.